So how do I stop results that I experience in life, whether that's professional or personal results? How do I stop them negatively impacting me? How do I process them in such a way that it fuels my future rather than holds it back? Well, I think the answer comes in understanding this, that I am not my results. I am responsible for them, but they aren't a reflection of who I am. You see, the problem comes when the role that we have in life, whether that is our professional role, doctor, footballer, nurse, factory worker, first and foremost, we have to understand that that is not who you are. And this was a shift that I had to make a number of years ago when I experienced a result that I started to believe was a reflection of my value. You see, let me draw this on the board. There are 4 layers to who we are as people. That's our spirit, that's our identity, that's the who. Then there's the soul, which is our why, that's our motivation. Then there's the how, that's our thinking, our thought processing, where we solve problems. Then there's the what, that's our behavior, where we turn those ideas, those feelings, and those beliefs into action. Now, what happens is that results which we experience, whether that's positive or negative, they are usually connected to a role. So let me use, for instance, let me even use this video as an example. Okay, so let's say that this video gets 1 view, and that's my mum. Okay, so now as lovely as that is, and I love my mum and she supports me in everything my whole family do, but I want to see greater results than that. Okay, so my result, if I live with the wrong paradigm, and the paradigm is a way of seeing life and interpreting life. It's the set of lenses that we wear through which all of a sudden now everything that I am seeing through these lenses is shaped by that paradigm. And so if the paradigm is that I am my results, okay, which is where as human beings we all start from. We're born with those glasses that I am my result. So therefore, I believe that my role in life, that's who I am. They almost become inseparable. Okay, I can't separate them. That's why when somebody comes to the end of their profession, let's say a footballer, there's often an identity struggle because I am a footballer. But what happens when football ends? Well, that role has ended, but my life hasn't ended. Although if I have that paradigm and I see my life through those lenses, it feels like my life has ended because I am my role. But coming back to my example here, so if our results are tied to our role, okay, and therefore I believe that what I do is who I am, any results that I experience in that area, so this video, if I believe this paradigm and view my life through this lens, I'll believe that the success of this video is a direct reflection of who I am. And that affects self-esteem. That affects self-worth. And self-worth and confidence are intertwined. And confidence is one of the most sought after areas of performance, sought after elements that people want more of, strengths that people often say that they don't have enough of. And so if we live with this paradigm, we believe that I am my results. And I also believe that I am my role. A number of years ago, when I experienced a failure, I wanted to open a school. I had a great team of people with me who were working on this, and we were so close, and it failed. And I remember stood there in a conference room with a flip chart like this, drawing this very picture that I'm drawing for you right now. And I remember coming to the realization, taking the lenses off, that I am not my results. I am not my role, because the role and results are intertwined. And in that moment, it was like the lenses were taken off my eyes, and I suddenly started to see myself differently. Now, what did I start to see differently? Well, I went from seeing my life as I am my results to I am my values. Let's write this here. Okay. I am my values. My values. I am courage. I am confidence. I am relevant. I am passion. Whatever your values are, whatever my values are, when I see my life through the lens of my values rather than my role, then all of a sudden there's a tremendous shift that takes place. You see, roles are like clothes. They are not your skin. If I believe that my profession is my identity, then I believe that my role is like my skin. Well, I don't change my skin. I change my clothes. Now, why is that significant? You see, your values are your skin. They are what you deeply believe to be true, what you deeply believe to be right. They're the things that don't change. And actually, that's where your value and your worth lies. And so what we have to do is we have to start seeing through our values rather than trying to see value in what we do. If I live looking through my values, then what happens is I bring who I am to what I do. That actually expands possibility because you can take me out of one profession and put me into another profession. And what I do is I bring those values which transcend roles and context, and I can bring that into a different place and at a different space. All of a sudden, I'm no longer married to a role, I'm married to my values. Roles are like clothes. They're not your skin. I don't have the skin of a footballer or the skin of a business person or the skin of a doctor. They are clothes. I can put them on and I can take them off. There are different seasons in life when we wear different clothes. And so roles can be connected to seasons, but our values are our skin. They're with us throughout our entire life. Sometimes we, of course, we become aware of what those values are. We discover them, but they're always there. They're deeply embedded within who we are. Now, why is that significant? Because what happens is when I build a strong sense of identity based upon my values, I am my values, I am not my results. Then what happens is I start to create results out of a strong sense of self-worth. That actually creates increased quality and quantity of results. Why? Because I take more risks. What holds us back from taking risks is a fear that I'm going to get found out. That in the failure of the result, I'm going to find that I'm not as good a footballer, a business person, father, husband, whatever role that might be, as I think I am, and that's going to impact on my self-worth. But if I realize that my value comes from my values, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, what are my values? How do I integrate them into my daily life? When I live from my values, then all of a sudden I can treat results differently. So what does that look like? You see, results reveal clues. They reveal clues as to what's going right and also what needs to change. And they are vital. But if I live with the lens of I am my results, I'm less likely to handle results correctly and to interpret them correctly. I'm also less likely to seek out feedback and to try and get insights from other people for fear that my results are going to lead to a belief that I'm not as good as I thought I was, and therefore I'm not as good as a person as I thought I was. That prevents us seeking out feedback and gaining insights. What we can do practically is I want to encourage you to write down your results. And this is personal and professional. We'll talk about this in another video, but write down your results. At the end of today, write down your results. What happened today? Good, bad, indifferent. Write them down. And get used to holding your results in your hand and looking at them. You see, when you write them down and get them onto paper, you realize they are facts and they are a reflection of what has been and what is happening. They are not an indicator or predictor of your future. When you hold them in your hand, it prevents you from holding them in your heart. If I hold the results in the who I am, my heart, then what happens is I start to live restricted and restrained by results. I don't take the risks, my confidence goes down, and then I end up not outworking my potential. That leads to regrets because I know I could have done more, achieved more, but I was held back. Why? Because I was wearing these glasses. And so what happens is when you actually write out your results and make it clear in front of you, first of all, do this. Give thanks. Have gratitude. Gratitude for the results. Now, those results could be positive, they can be negative results. And being grateful is being grateful because in the results there are clues. And we are grateful, and this is the question I want you to ask yourself. And I start many of my coaching sessions with groups and teams asking this question: what are the wins and what are the learns? What are the wins and what are the learns? You see, when you have this perspective on results, there are no losses. There are only losses in failure when you don't process that information. Because in the black box of a mistake or a failure, just like the black box of a plane that crashes, are the clues to incremental improvements that can ensure a safer journey next time, that can ensure success at a greater level and to a greater measure next time. So there's the win of this went right because, and this went wrong because, and next time I'm going to learn to do things differently. And so all of a sudden, I start to live from a strong core of identity, realizing my roles are like clothes, they can change. And who I am is not what I do. My results are something that I'm responsible for, but they're not my identity. And actually, if I start to put this habit into practice, giving thanks for my results, and then asking what's the win, what's the learn, what's the insight that I can take to bring improvement to what I do, I have a healthy separation between who I am and what I do. And that separation is key. And I believe that separation is what delivers a greater product, service, relationship, whatever is the outworking of your role. When it comes to my prayer for you, it comes from the book of Ephesians. And the Apostle Paul, who was a founder of churches and a father to churches, would have oversight of many people, many Christians, and he didn't have the technology that you and I have today where he could FaceTime, email, message, WhatsApp. He had to write letters, and sometimes it would take many days, maybe even weeks or months for these letters to arrive. And so he was in a position where he couldn't micromanage the people in the church to be good followers of Jesus. He realized that the scalable way of people increasing in quantity of believers, but also quality of who they were becoming to mirror the likeness of Christ, is that something happened at the core of who they were. Listen to his words. He says this in Ephesians 1 from verse 17. I keep asking that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the glorious Father, may give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation so that you may know him better. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which he called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. Notice the Apostle Paul prayed that their eyes, the eyes of their heart, would be opened. The eyes of the heart is here. It's where the revelation takes place. It's where The lenses are changed. They're removed. I start to see myself based as God sees me. And when I change what I see through my heart, I change what I do. When I change what I see, when I look at my life, my values, which are a reflection of the nature of God, then all of a sudden I change what I do. The Apostle Paul knew that these people were only going to become mature followers of Christ who could truly make an impact and create a revolution in their society was if they saw themselves differently. No amount of him telling them and micromanaging them would produce the outcome that they all wanted. He needed something to happen at the very heart and the core of his people. You see, for the change to happen that you can see, there has to be a revelation. You have to see yourself differently, to feel different, to do different, and therefore to achieve a different outcome. A revelation in the heart leads to a revolution in your lifestyle. And I believe that there's more in you that you've not yet seen. So my prayer is like that of Paul, that God will open the eyes of your heart so that you may know the hope to which he has called you. And what does that lead to? Well, it leads to the unleashing, it says, of his incomparable power for those who believe. Power is released when I see myself differently, when I see myself as God sees me. Till next time, take care.